This is your place for all things Grand Rapids Griffins and all things Toledo Walleye. This is the Hockeytown West podcast with your hosts, Brandon Cook, Nick Harrington, and Travis Bosch.
All right, the beginning of this show is for Todd McClellan and Todd McClellan only. If you're not Todd McClellan, feel free to skip ahead to where we start talking about Griffins hockey. Todd, did you know if you put Shine, Dries, and Leonard together on a line, it's the Griffins' top line? Those guys have 115 combined points this season in the American Hockey League. Your team needs to score goals. The answer's in front of you. Do it. That is all. Back to our regularly scheduled programming.
I don't think it quite works like that in the NHL, but I like where your head's at.
you don't know until you try. Like, that's where I'm at with this. Like, you need to score goals.
Well, like Showtime on a breakaway?
Yeah, I mean, I'll take that all day, but
he just went bar down on a breakaway.
Perfect. But, I remember when they called up Lenny in the beginning of the season and it was, we're going to put guys in roles they're used to playing in the American League. Like, it doesn't matter. And here you get the entire top line out of Grand Rapids, and you're going to bury half of them on the fourth and maybe put Leonard on the third sometimes. Like, come on, dude.
Yeah.
Just stick to your guns, stick to your words, do it. You can't get any worse than what's out there right now. It really can't.
No, especially when they're struggling to score. I mean, at least they called up NBN to try.
Yeah, then he gets
at least they put
hurt.
Leonard in the lineup. Here's my
Don't get me
thoughts
started
on
on that tangent.
Well, I understand the waiver issue if it was a non-claim. I'm sorry, but if I'm Detroit, I'm still playing him. They have to worry about getting into the playoffs themselves too, right? It's not. Yeah, it sucks for Grand Rapids and for us as a show, but they ultimately have to worry about their business on top of everybody else's. And that's a guy that if you can get any goals out of him, he's probably got a better chance of potentially catching some of the guys that only have a handful of goals on the year.
Right. And the Grand Rapids situation wouldn't suck as much if, Ammo and Nate were not both injured right now, too. That just adds to the whole concoction of chaos that we have here. If those guys were still around, you're only signing maybe one PTO, and it's probably business as usual, honestly, for the Griffins right there. But obviously, we have a ton of transactions and all that stuff to talk about today, including even an AHL level trade to talk about. Whole bunch has happened over the last week for the Griffins. Welcome back to the Hockeytown West podcast, your source for everything Grand Rapids Griffins and Toledo Walleye hockey. And I suppose we should dive in and just start talking about transactions. And I think we should go with the trade first because everyone's seen the PTOs. Obviously, we're going to talk about those players as they played this week and stuff like that throughout the episode. Everyone kind of knows who's been assigned. We'll go over it again one more time. But we have a trade, and that trade sees Ian Mitchell head off to Syracuse, and we get two guys in return. We get two forwards. You get Michael Milne and Wojciech, it's Wojciech, not Wojciech, Wojciech Stachowiak in return. Now, Stachowiak's hurt right now, so we haven't seen him make his Griffins debut yet. You traded for a guy that's also injured, just to add to the injury pile up in the Detroit organization right now. But Michael Milne's a guy that, we didn't know much about. Well, we didn't know much about either of them, but Milne's not one we knew a lot about at all. We saw him a little bit in Iowa before he went off to Syracuse. And I got my first look at him this weekend, and he's a fiery, spicy player that goes to the hard areas. And yeah, you look at his stats from other teams, not a ton of offense, but at the same time, his coach said it this week, he just needs to maybe be on a good team, learn our structure, and that offense might come with it. But it's a guy that can definitely go out there and grind if they need him to and get into those dirty areas and mix things up if they need him to. He was an impressive guy so far to me in this mixed up lineup that the Griffins have.
I think he'll be a big key piece for playoffs. Some more nails, right? You've got AKL, you've got Watson. Now you add another guy that can be some nails in the lineup. That's always a good thing to have at that time of the year. Plus, it's going to give him about a month or so a runway to get in, learn the system, and potentially become that piece that Waddy thinks he could maybe become. So I think that's one thing that is kind of exciting about him. Like you said, he plays a little physical and with a little edge.
Yeah, no, 100%. And Stachowiak, obviously, we don't know until we see him in the lineup too. Dan did mention that he could potentially be in the Griffins lineup this coming weekend, which when you look at the roster, you go, sweet, that's great. We can maybe release a PTO or something like we did today. Maybe that's why Brandon Hawkins is back in Toledo now. But you look
He's
at
in
the other side
Toledo?
of that. He is. Well, he's in
He's in
Savannah, but he's playing with the Walleye. He made it down there, psychopath, playing all these games. He was ready to play Friday night, played Saturday night, played Sunday, and he's down in Savannah playing today. Just, again, absolute psychopath. But what does he always tell us? Any day you can lace up the skates and play, it's a good day, right?
Yep, he's a man of his word when it comes to that, 100%.
Oh, 100%. But you look at the other side of that trade, right? You lose Ian Mitchell, which sucks. Like, Mitchie's been a great guy on this team. Fantastic on the blue line, great on the power play. And as we've heard from the guys, just an all around great guy to have in the room. Losing that part sucks. But when you look at the pipeline of defensemen that this team has and the future ones coming in, like, we've got plenty. So it was that expendable piece to get 2 forwards, right?
Yeah, well, you look at the thing as a whole, and like you said, you have enough bodies defensively. Like, right, if you still got Truscott and Andrews in Toledo, you still have plenty to work with. It's going to help them up front, right? This is where most of their injury bugs been, and they're still fine with defense as far as numbers go. And like, what is it, Wojciech? Like, another Olympian joins the team, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah, right?
But you look at his numbers, like just under half a point per game with Syracuse, like that. I think he was maybe like the piece, right? And then maybe, I don't know if it was Steve or Horkoff that negotiated this. And it's like, can we get another body? Like, we're dying for bodies. And then, like, if you can get any upside out of, what is it? Michael.
Milne.
Yeah, Milne. I wasn't sure if it was Milne or Mine. I don't know. Listen, it's been a while since I've been on this part of the show.
Yeah, he's going to mispronounce Griffin's names all night.
Probably. But I think the big thing is like, if you get Wojtek, you get Michael, like some guys up front, they've played in a lot of games, right? Like, especially Michael a lot not Michael, with Wojtek overseas. He's having a good year in the American League. So hopefully he can, once he gets into the lineup, seemingly transition into the lineup. And how does that affect the lineup? And then obviously there's more help coming, which we'll get to. But as a whole, I think it just helps stabilize the roster up front. They've been short up front all year. So if they can get guys healthy and then you got 2 more guys to pick from, it only helps.
Yeah, and Stahoviak is like you said, a half a point per game player, someone that can really make maybe a big impact in that bottom 6 and continue to get that depth scoring rolling for GR. Like, we know when the entire team is together and the lineup's healthy, the top 6 does enough scoring for us. But in games where they might have an off night, if you can get, a Trail Max and him going on the same line, get that a little Olympic connection going, I'm here for it, dude. I'm excited to see him join the lineup, and Mikey's been a nice addition so far. Let's get to the other transactions now. Here we go.
There's
The
a
Griffins
lot.
had to sign 3 PTOs heading into Friday's almost game. You had Brandon Hawkins, like we already talked about, get signed, which is one that we've been dying for. We've been joking about this with him and on the show now for 2 years, and it finally happens. And he told Bob Kaiser he only did it because of Dan Watson, which is exactly what he told us back in the day. If Waddy was ever in a bind, he'd do it. Hawk said he got the call, said, let me get back to you. It took an hour, called him back and said, yep, I'll be there. And here he was, and honestly looked great in the 2 games he played in, especially seeing Waddy deploy him on the power play. He had some nice passes out there, and that one where he took his patented shot from his office that, almost scored but didn't, and he gets the puck back on the blue line and does a little pass shot to Mazer, who tips it. Like, that was almost a goal too. It was a really nice setup by him, but dude, he looked great in the American League.
Yeah, that was a cool experience for him as a whole. And I think the one thing with him is, like, I expected him to not look out of place at all, right? Like, he's a rating 2-time ECHL MVP. Like, for the people that don't understand how good of a player he is, that maybe don't tune into the Toledo shows, like, you kind of got to see bits and pieces of it up front, right? Like, right in front of your eyes. And it's very special to us because we've got such a great relationship with him, like, through the Toledo side of things. And like you said, his commitment to, like, Toledo's been unbelievable, but he's always left the door open, like, if Waddy needed somebody. And I thought back to, like, our first time we ever interviewed him, he told us that, and that's almost 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Feels like forever ago at this point. But he's just, like, such a great human. I love that he got the opportunity. I know I sent him a note and was like, just, so excited for you and so on and so forth. And he was kind enough to, send me something back when he got the time. I'm sure his phone was absolutely blown up. But I think the cool thing for me with him too is that he got to do it in front of his little boy. And I think that's one of the main reasons that this happened. Like, Yeah, I'm sure, like, he selfishly wanted to do it for himself too, but like, how cool is it, you get to go play in front of your little guy in the league above, right? And just a cool experience.
Yeah, like you look at all the storylines with some players like that. You look at Shiner, you look at Hawk. Shiner wanted to play pro hockey in front of his child after he was born, and then he kept on playing, and obviously it's worked out pretty well for him. And here's Hawk over here getting the chance to play in the American League in front of Rowan too. It's super cool. It was fun to have him in post game as well on Saturday night. I always enjoy when the players bring their kids in like that, and having Row up there was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's an element that you have got that with him that I haven't. I haven't got that yet.
Yeah.
With Hawks. So that was a really cool thing. It doesn't shock me that he had Row with him though. Like, it's
No,
cool
the whole
because,
fam was there. It was great.
yeah. So it's funny because like sometimes you'll see, like, obviously they're all downstairs, right? And sometimes they'll be coming through as, I'm doing post game, and like there's been a couple times where like his wife has Rowan, and like you see Mick come out of the room and Pat's like, Row, and then he gets like the big smile on his face. So it's like just kind of a cool little like family thing. And it's cool that both teams like really are big on the family side of the game.
Yeah, it's really cool. And then you go to the other PTOs as well. So the Griffins re-signed Jackson Judding out of Kansas City. So we got him back again on a PTO.
Keep
and
him.
Then, what's that? Keep him? Yeah,
Keep
right?
him.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think you want us to keep the next one more. You got William DeFore out of Fort Wayne. Waddy takes one guy from Toledo and then makes sure to take one from another guy in the division like that. That was good. But dude, DeFore was great this weekend. Honestly, I really like his play style. I think he could fit in really well on this team. Obviously, there's other players that are going to be rejoining the Griffins or joining the Griffins this year out of college, overseas, all that stuff. But at the same time, like if you can find a spot for DeFore in this lineup, I would keep him. Again, just like talking about Milne, a grinder that's going to go into those dirty areas. But God, does he have a good shot on him too? He scored a goal in the game Saturday night. Looked like he belonged in Grand Rapids, honestly. Really, really excited to see how long we get to keep him for. It's funny where you see the two Toledo guys get released back to Toledo today, and coach keeps the Fort Wayne player. I don't know, playing some games there, but hey, we'll take it.
Checkers.
Exactly. But I honestly, not just for the fact to keep him out of Fort Wayne for Toledo's sake, but to keep him on the team. I really like this player. I think it could potentially fit in very well here.
Yeah, like you said, the goal too, that play as a whole, great shot coming across, like to get that play. And I think one other thing with that too is like you said, it is kind of funny because it's like you take two from Toledo, or you take two from, it was technically two from Toledo because they called up Truscott, but one from Toledo, one from Fort Wayne, and one from Kansas City. Like three of the best teams in the West in the ECHL are all losing a guy.
It's only fair, right? It's about time we spread that love around instead of just taking from Toledo. I'm sure Toledo fans appreciated it, but that's it for PTOs. Obviously, still in Detroit at this time, you have Dominic Shine, Sheldon Dries, John Leonard. Am I missing anybody? MBN, but he's currently day-to-day with an injury. Thanks, Detroit, for getting him hurt. Love that for us. Not really. And like we said earlier in the episode, that both Lombardi and Danielson are still injured in Grand Rapids. So that one stings and hurts a little bit still. Hopefully they're back soon, though. I think that covers.
Are they both skating? Like, I know we've seen Nate
yes,
skating.
they're
both skating.
Both skating in the non-contact jerseys, as far as I've seen. I have not been to practice. That's just based on the visual on photos the Griffins have posted when they had their Skittles practice with a million colors of jerseys. No, I don't know what they all mean. I think it was different for different drills and different places. But either way, as far as I know, they are skating. Hopefully we get them back in sooner rather than later, because it looks like some of these guys are going to be in Detroit for a little bit.
At least probably another week to 2 weeks, I would say.
Yeah. Yep. So we'd like them back and healthy as soon as possible. But that's all the transactions that have happened. Okay, we got through that. Good Lord. That was a lot. And then, as we're in the middle of the beginning of Sunday's game, we see that the Detroit Red Wings signed Eddie Genborg to his ELC, and he's reporting to Grand Rapids for the remainder of the season. Now, the clarifier here with the NHL SHL rule next season, he doesn't report back to GR next year. This is a test run in GR. If he blows the doors down, the only way he's staying in North America is going to the NHL, or he's going back to the SHL. So want to clarify that before we get too far.
Expect Sweden.
Yeah, right, exactly. But hey, the kid's been on a crazy tear this season, surprising a lot of people. And as Griffins fans looking at this stretch of the season here heading into the playoffs, this is a guy to have. If he can play like he plays over there, here, this is going to be a guy.
It's just the transition, right? Like, I wonder if he's gonna transition over how MBN did, right? It was kind of like a seamless transition for MBN last year. He had the good playoffs, albeit it was only 3 games, but he was impactful in the playoffs. Like, and I don't know if it's Genborg or Gongberg,
I think it's Genborg.
Genborg. Like,
I think
I don't know.
we'll get correction when we meet him eventually
Right.
when the Griffins are ever back in town.
Yeah, but like for that too, like he's a kind of guy, like you look at his play, two-way, physical, heavy, maybe not like the massive shot of an NBN, but has that kind of compete. So you think playoffs style of hockey when you see that kind of player.
Do you think it's easier for a player like him and NBN to do that transition because the physical aspect of their game is already such a big part of their game? And, overseas, the physicality is not as big in those leagues, right? So when they come over here and they already play a physical style of hockey, it's kind of easier for them to jump into this play.
In comparison to who? Like what style? Like a
In
defenseman?
comparison to other guys that have come overseas and struggled with that transition.
Yeah, probably just because there's the rink's smaller. So it's, if you're used to being in the physical play, the play's on you quicker. If you're used to throwing your weight around, you can, get off of guys, get on guys a little harder. You think of like with ASP, that was a much different situation, right? Like gap control is way different because you don't have, the extra room to force a guy wide. The boards come up quicker on you, stuff like that. But I think as a whole, yeah, just because you look at the way that they play, like that's the North American style is kind of more in your face. So those two in particular, like if Genborg does, if he plays that style, I could see a world where he transitions fine just because he's, like you said, he's used to that style of play and he's playing it on the bigger sheet. It's just less time and space, more time to hit somebody, I guess.
I'm assuming like when he comes in, obviously when the lineup is all back together again and healthy, I'm assuming you see him slot into that bottom 6 role probably. But could you imagine like him, Bantle, and Siegs on a line if he's this much of a bowling ball that we think he might be?
It'd be physical.
It'd be fun.
Physical.
That's a fun line to go out there and send out there to start the game, as Dan Watson liked to send that bowling ball line out to start most games this season.
Well, and you factor in just the style of play that like Grand Rapids has. They have a lot of heavy in their lineup when they're at full health. Like you got Watson, you've got most of the season MBN, right? I'm sure if Detroit doesn't make it, he'd be back. You factor in what is it, Milne? That little heavier, gritty style, AKL, physical style, Genborg, another guy. Like that's a handful of guys right there that just have that heavier style of play. So like when you get to the postseason, like it's more wear, more tear, but like guys like that and Shine plays that way too. So like can't forget about him. I got in a fight tonight. So like they got a lot of big, heavy presence, which I think will really help them down the stretch.
It's nice to have a handful of those guys. If injuries do happen in playoffs and you lose one of those bowling balls, you can just slot another one in, right? Like it's good to have that kind of depth in the playoffs in this league, especially. So
yeah, I didn't even say Seager or Bantle. Like,
dude, Siegs got in a fight the other night and it shocked the heck out of me. I know that's the second one of the season, but also at the same time, he ate a couple of big ones. But dude, he chucked a few really good ones in there.
Yeah,
it's nice to have that around here a little bit. So that is officially all of the transactions until this is completely obsolete and somebody inevitably gets hurt in Detroit's game tonight and they call somebody else up again.
Why do you got to say that, man?
Because, it's not public until it's posted. So it's only going to happen after that. It's March, right?
They're struggling. I hope, but it's not looking good.
Yeah, right. All right, let's jump into Griffins hockey, and we're going to start with Friday night. Oh, my God.
Bring your swim trunks?
Yeah, right? So it's the game that never happened. It's been postponed. It has been officially rescheduled, which is good to see. I know it was chaos to get this game rescheduled this late in the season with arena availability and all that between Milwaukee and Grand Rapids, but it has been rescheduled for March 24th with all the same promotions from the original Friday night game. So it's still going to be the purple game. It's still $2 beer night. It's still going to have all that stuff going on. So that has officially been rescheduled.
Is that a weekend?
March 24th? No,
It's like
that's
it's
a Tuesday night.
Tuesday. Yeah, I was gonna say. I don't think that's gonna be interesting.
Yes, but it's really one of the only 2 or 3 days they could fit it in with all the existing events at the arena and Milwaukee's schedule.
Well,
It's tough.
NHL level schedule. You're gonna play on Tuesdays. You're gonna play every day. So
I mean, the playoffs, they play weekday games, so I guess it gets us ready, right?
It's a preview.
But the story of how this game unfolded kind of has to, or didn't unfold, we should say, has to be told. So I get to the arena Friday, and I usually get there quite early. I get there about 5:30, 5:45. I walk up to press row, and I look down and go, what the F happened to the ice? Then looks like it broke. Like someone did like donuts on the ice, and they couldn't get all the rubber off. What the heck is going on? And according to the team, what I was told is the building unfortunately lost power in the wicked storms that we had go through Grand Rapids last Wednesday, where there was flooding, hail, crazy wind, all that stuff. The building lost power. The compressor never recovered fully for the refrigeration system. There was a concert as well Thursday night in Grand Rapids at the arena. So when they pulled the floor up on Friday morning at 2 a.m, they discovered some puddles, which is never something the ice crew wants to see. They did their best to try to make it go, and the players went out there for warm-ups. That, as far as I know, that's the first time the ice was skated on, because the practice was and morning skates were already scheduled to be at the ice house because of the concert changeover from the night before. It wouldn't have been ready for the morning skate, so they wouldn't have been able to skate on it by that time, whether the ice had melted or not. So the first time all the teams got to skate out there was warm-ups, and by the time I went back up to press row after warm-ups and looked down, I was like, this game's not happening. It looked horrible out there, and you could tell players were just not having fun in warmups either. And it all came down to the big obvious thing, right? It's player safety. You can't have guys out there skating on thin ice like that. You can't hit your edges. You can't stop well. You can't make quick turns. Someone was going to get hurt. And they made the right decision to postpone the game. Granted, yes, it was late. The call was definitely very late. The warm-ups had happened. Fans are in the building. $2 beers are being consumed already, and you have the call of the game. Like, that's just not how anyone wants it to go. But again, they didn't know until players had really skated on it. Yes, you could tell visually it looked wrong, but you didn't know until skates hit the ice. But again, just one of those weird things to be added to this memorable season, but it's not in a positive way. I mean, the two negatives I could think of are the bat and the ice, but who knows?
So here's my thinking on this. And when they seen puddles, they should have just said, nope, we're not even going to try. Like,
agreed. I
understand that you got to try, but like, I just think it would have been better to just don't even get them there. Don't even have them participate on it. Like, the fact that nobody skated on it until warmups that's where an issue lies. Like,
that's as far as I know. I can't confirm that specific, but I can only imagine like who the heck else would have skated on it that day.
Well, I mean, there's no morning skate,
right.
So like it wouldn't have gotten any like heavy pressure if somebody just went out and took a whirl. You know, like
no, yeah, you wouldn't have been able to tell just with that.
Yeah, you can't really see it until you see what like a game atmosphere warm up. Heavy presence on the ice is going to provide, because you got to remember, like when you're skating on the ice, like you're not cutting the ice, you're actually melting it. Like, and that's what some people don't necessarily know is like the ice is actually melting underneath your blades. It's not you tearing the ice up, it's the ice melting. So when the ice is already soft, it just makes for a recipe for disaster. Like,
yeah, because it's actually like, we were talking about it, and it's better. The ice will get better the more you skate on it, right? Like, that's the whole premise of the ice melting under the skate. Like, the ice will get better and thicker as you skate, resurface. So the ice crew went to work that night, and they got it up and ready for the youth hockey games that happened there that afternoon on Saturday. And they did get it game ready on Saturday night. Did it look pretty? God, no. It still looked awful because the paint underneath the ice was just jacked from the melting, but at the same time, they did play on it.
It's actually probably a best case scenario that there was youth games, because then you have like a test cycle to go through. Granted, it's nowhere near the impact of a AHL game, but you still have at least a bunch of kids out there for an hour playing a game back and forth. So it's a good
there was
test
multiple
run.
Games too, so it was good. Get a couple of resurfaces in between the games. They did get it up and running. It's a terrible week for the ice crew. You just feel so bad for them because it's mostly out of their control. You'd think someone might check on that after a power outage, but I digress.
Wouldn't you think there'd be a generator though? Like,
yeah,
like an auto generator. That's the
A
first thing
lot
my
of
dad said to me is he's like, "There's not a generator running there?" I was like, "Dude, I don't know." I said that.
a
I
lot of
said,
questions.
I was like, it's just not my. It's not my area of expertise. But I was like, no, somebody. I'm sure there was a lot of conversation had as to how this happened, but
Yeah, the funniest part for me was that my uncle was at the game and he works on generators for a living, and he was like, "I think I need to sell him a generator. Like, I
yeah,
think I see opportunity here." It's like,
like
"Ah, there you go, bud." But either way, poor ice crew. You feel bad for them having to, because they had to pull an all-nighter after they just pulled an all-nighter trying to get it ready for the Friday game.
yeah.
They had to do it again for Saturday's game, but they did get it up and running. And we'll talk about Saturday's game now because there was no hockey to talk about then. At least, Dan Watson was nice enough to talk to us for a post warm-up interview after Friday, which was nice to get to kind of talk about the call-ups and all that stuff in a more relaxed environment instead of having to, ask maybe after a tough game about all these new guys coming into the roster too. So it was nice of him to at least take the time to do that with us. But on to Saturday's game, Griffins against the Admirals, take 2, part 2, attempt number 2, whatever you want to call it.
Wasn't
And
much better.
it was ugly. Yeah, it was about as ugly as the ice still looked. Honestly, it was not good. And when I say not good, the Griffins lost 5-2. We'll start off with not Sebastian Cossa's best game by any means.
No, definitely not his best game. I would say the third one, I don't really know what happened. I don't know if the puck got
Where he lost track of the puck completely.
Well, but I don't know if it like hit the guy. And it just kind of, it was a weird play, broken play.
I mean, he looked
front.
behind him first after the first bounce of it, so it was already a bad situation because he thought it went past him. Just not good.
The first one, I love Cossa. He's one of my favorite prospects, but like, I don't understand where the gripe was for goalie interference. The guy was outside of the crease. Like, if you go back and watch it, like he's outside. Like, I didn't understand why.
I don't necessarily know if he was looking for goalie interference on him, if it was a hold on the player in front of him.
Okay,
I think that's more what they were looking for because I saw multiple hands go up.
Okay, because not me being there. Like the first thing you see when you see the goalie go like that is goalie interference, and I'm like, there's nothing there. Like he's outside of the crease. The second one was not good. Like
no,
that one's got to probably be stopped. Like, and I'm always benefit of the doubt to the goaltenders in most instances, but like that was a backhand that he's seen the whole way.
It was a sick backhand shot. I'll give him that, but
it was. But like that's one you got to fight off. Like, and I'm sure he would even tell you that. You talk to him enough that the kind of competitor he is. Like he was probably pissed at himself on that one.
I think he was pissed at himself the entire game. He just didn't look comfortable in this game. And was it the ice? Like, was he not able to set in how he normally would? I don't know. Obviously, like you're in the pros, you don't expect to be playing on a crappy ice surface, but at the same time, you've played on a crappy ice surface at some point in your life. You should at least understand your footing a little bit as a goaltender, but he just looked off the entire night.
Well, I mean, the whole team looked off
well, we'll get to them.
Like that's definitely part of it. Like when the team in front of you is playing really sloppy, like it can just kind of snowball, right? And listen, I mean, he's had a great year as a whole. There's going to be a stretch, right, where maybe he doesn't have his best games. Like it happens. Everybody goes through a little bit of a rough patch. Christ, look at John Gibson the first month of the year. Like, it's just one of those things to where it's like that. And this is probably why he's still down here. Like he's still developing in some areas, but it's not like it's end of the world scenario, right? Like,
no.
Yeah, like you still know like he's a good goaltender. It's just he had an off night and the team as a whole didn't play well. So I don't really look at it as a cause for concern. Like
no, it's not a cause for concern. It's just a bad game, right?
Yeah,
and
it happens.
The thing with Cossa that we all know very, very well, when he has a bad game, he bounces back better than ever. And usually that first couple games after that bad game is just like lights out. Holy crap, what the heck are you doing? Where was this 3 nights ago? But at the same time, a goalie's going to have a bad night. It happens. So, but like you've said multiple times, the team in front of him was not much better. I would say, in fact, way worse, which Coach Watson, he called it out very directly in his very brief post game with us on Saturday night, where, the guys that have been playing here have to play better. And they did not in this game. I can't think of a single guy that's been playing here in GR that played very well in this game. Yes, I know Trail Max scored a goal in this game. It is still, he didn't have a good game.
They didn't play good. You don't even need to really look at like the game as a whole to tell that the team did not play well. Like you don't have to even go back and watch the whole game. You can watch the first 10 minutes and just be like, yep, this is a bad night. Like, it
Yeah.
happens.
But on the positive side, all the new guys played very well in this game. Like we said earlier in the show, Dufour had a goal in this game. Nice power play goal by him. But everyone else that was just signed, this is their first game. They just got here maybe yesterday or Thursday. They all looked like they belonged on this team and belonged out there and played very well. Like we said, Hawk played well in this one. I thought Judding played great. Milne played great in this one. Just all those guys showed up in this one, which you kind of thought that might spark the others and drag them into this fight and make this a game, but it didn't.
It's just an unfortunate night. It's one of those nights where, like, you just kind of flush it. You have to flush it. And I thought, which we'll get into, they did a pretty relatively good job of doing it. But they just didn't have it that night. And listen, it's a long year. They've been on a great tear all year. Yeah, Providence has caught them and now passed them, but like it is what it is, right? This is what can be tough at this time of the year when you're so far ahead of everybody. This is one of the things that maybe you back burner, like, okay, we can't let that happen repeatedly. Like, you can't coast. And yeah, you can have an off night, but you got to rebound. So they're going to happen. I say every year, each team's allowed about 5 duds a year. When you play 70 to 80 games, you're going to have 5 nights where you just do not flat out have it. And they didn't have it then.
No, they did not. What is unfortunate in this one, they almost had it. They almost had this game back to within a 1-goal game, making it 4-3 Milwaukee, where Milne actually got his stick on a puck and it deflected past Murray. And we've got a goal, we think. Everyone's celebrating. And then you see a little huddle with the officials and they say no goal, high stick. I want to talk about this because, one, you could tell coach was visibly frustrated with the officiating in this game. Second, how is an official with the guy out in the face-off dot can you say that's a high stick when it wasn't over his shoulder, so you're judging it high stick by being the stick was above the crossbar from about 20, 30 feet out? How?
That's a very tough call for sure. And
they didn't go to video with it. It was just a huddle and no goal, which is mind-boggling to me.
Do they do reviews on that kind of stuff? Like, this is a question
I don't know if they specifically video review that. I know they have the ability to video review some things. What they can and can't, I don't know. We'll have to get clarification on the rules with that. But at the same time, how can you definitively go, yeah, that was a high stick, no goal, without looking at any evidence, just the eye test, one blink? Like, half of us thought it didn't hit Milne. We thought it hit the Griffin falling on the right side of the ice, whose stick was way up in the air. But I had to slow the replay down and zoom in way close and see that puck was about 4 feet from his stick. So I thought it hit that guy. Maybe the refs thought it hit that guy too, who was falling and his stick went up. I don't know. But it hit Milne's. And yes, his stick was up. He's not a tall guy, but it was up at near his shoulders. It wasn't above. And with how tall he is, I'm like, if it's at his shoulders, it's not above the crossbar. There's no way.
Yeah, it's unfortunate break, right? You're gonna get some good breaks and you're gonna get some bad ones, and this was a bad one.
Well, why are we always on the receiving end of bad ones when it comes to these goals getting called back this season?
Hey, maybe in the playoffs it'll wash out. Like, that's all you can hope for.
It freaking better.
That's all you can hope for, is that you get to make up somewhere. So,
but it wasn't just that with officiating in this game. It was rough all night long, and a lot of calls that you just look at them and go, why? Andre Becker had 3 penalties in this game. One of the 3, I was like, where is that a penalty? Don't know. Couldn't tell you. But man, was the penalty calling lopsided in this game. Milwaukee had 7 power play opportunities. The Griffins had 2.
I thought the one that you would bring up was not the one that you have brought up so far.
Which one did you think I was going to bring up?
I really thought you would bring up the one on Seager.
Well, I was getting there.
So, like, I don't know. This is where Grand Rapids needs to stop cutting the camera to the end. Because you could not see what the hell happened and led to that. Because to me, I didn't know if he was tripped or if he lost an edge. But, like, I understood why they called the penalty on Seager. Like, it did look like he kind of clipped the guy. And the guys on both guys on the Griffins broadcast were like, yeah, that's a penalty. So, like, my argument is more
looked like
with
he tripped
the
over
camera.
his feet while he was down. It looked like he tripped over his feet while he was down from the angle I looked at it at and trying to, because, like, obviously you looked at our clip that we posted. I was looking at the highlight, zoomed in, slowed way down, and it looks like he trips over his feet right in front of the ref, and you're like, okay, how are we doing that here? And mind you, yes, I posted that. Yes, I went on a rant, but that was just all the officiating of the night bundled into one what the F are we doing here? Because again, it wasn't just that. It was all over the place that night. And I don't want to go on a huge rant on that. I kind of want to save it for Sunday's game because I'll have more to rant about with the officials in that game. But at the same time, boy, was it lopsided. Boy, did it affect us. God, that goal getting called back, I feel like really screwed us because I felt like the momentum was just on the Griffin side at that point, which you can't let that stuff obviously affect you. You have to overcome it. You can't let yourselves lose momentum because the goal gets called back. You just got to go out there and get another one and another one, right? But at the same time, in a game like this against this particular opponent, God, that pissed me off.
Yeah, no, I that was just the one that I caught because like Toledo did play this night, so like I didn't catch the entire game, but I caught enough to give you some advice, or not advice, but thoughts, I guess. So like that was one where I was like,
advice is probably the right word to use there.
But I was just like, I seen him go down, and then I seen the guy fall over, and I'm like, yep, they're gonna call that because they generally like you got to remember like. Stuff like that, it seems like always the second one gets called, not sometimes the first one.
Always.
And again, this goes back to my rant, and I know other people have ranted about this. Stop switching the camera into the one in the end. Please stop doing it. Like, you can't see what happens. Like, it drives you crazy.
The guy that's running that camera is never ready. He's never pointed at the right thing. And it's always just complete chaos because it's a handheld camera. It's not mounted. So it's all shaky. It looks terrible. Just stop switching to it. Please, for the love of God. It's the worst camera maybe in the league. Might be the worst one in pro hockey, except for the one in Fort Wayne where they just zoom in on the puck and move the camera the entire game.
That's not even a camera issue. That's just incompetence. Like,
all right. Enough about cameras, enough about officiating in this one, because again, it sucked. It was bad. It was left with my head scratched all night long.
The game was bad.
The game was bad. Officiating was bad. Ice was bad. It's time to hit an ad break. When we come back, we'll talk about Sunday's game, give you a standings update. We're going to talk about a player or two.
DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL, is built for the fastest game on ice. With player props, live betting, every shift, every shot, every save gives you options to get in on the game with DraftKings Sportsbook. Currently, the NHL is on an Olympic break, but right now you can bet a plus 10,000 for Moritz Seider to win the Norris Trophy, or plus 3,500 for John Gibson to win the Vezina. Pretty good odds there for our guys. New customers bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THPN. That's code THPN to turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. New York, call 8778-HOPE-NY. Connecticut, call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino in Kansas, wager tax pass-through may apply in Illinois. 21 plus in most states. Void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets, which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer. Copyright 2026 reserved.
And welcome back. All right, let's talk about Sunday's game. The Griffins hit the road. This would have been a 3-3 this weekend, so melting the ice is one way to get out of a 3-3, I guess. But we go down to Chicago for a little evening game. What's that?
It's soft.
Soft, yeah.
Scared of the 3-3, soft. Freeze.
Hey, we had back-to-back 3-3 scheduled. That's rare.
Melt the ice.
yeah, exactly. But they head down to Chicago, and you hope just for a better game, right, than what you saw on Saturday night. Obviously, the lineup's not changing much, but the lines did change. Waddy shifted them all over the place. You saw Austin Watson on the first line. You saw Brandon Hawkins bump to the third line. You saw Andre Becker bumped from the first to the third line or fourth line in this game. Just changes everywhere. End result, still a loss. Griffins get shut out 1-0 against the Wolves. But at the same time, I'm not as mad about it because it was a better team game than what we saw on Saturday. Like, the team played better in this game. But we have to start with the number one star for the Griffins in this game. And he was actually the third star of the game in this one. Michael Postava, dude. Unreal in this one, stopping 27-28, obviously allowing just the one goal, but making some unreal saves and doing a wild sequence that got Bob more excited than I've heard him in the last 3 years.
That was a wild sequence. Listen, I remember early in the year I was talking about Postava. I was like, oh, they might have found something. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of waited for the wall to hit. Like, I was like, okay, he's off to a great start. Is he gonna hit a wall? Like, because you just truthfully don't know when you find an undrafted player. Like, you don't know, right? And I was like, it just hasn't happened. So like now it's like, okay, like he's legit. Like this is a guy. Like I even sent a DM to somebody today. I'm like, this is the kind of player that can come in and all of a sudden now you have an expendable piece potentially somewhere. Like in that position. Like you got Cossa, you got Postava, you got Gyro, you got Augustine. Like they're so deep in net now that like if a team called Detroit and was like, hey, would you move a goaltending piece? Like Postava has come in and emerged himself into this that like you could potentially move something like, and he could even be him. Like somebody might value him enough to in the future, but like he's come in and just been an elite player for this team. Like he's been great. And he's fun to watch because he's super athletic. And you really like that one call, like you said, like he was all over the place and the puck just stayed out. It was an unreal sequence, but yeah, I'm sold on him now. Like I wasn't sure initially, but like now it's like, yep, he's here. He's arrived.
Yeah, and the crazier part of this whole thing is like he doesn't fall under the qualified goalies for like the goalie stats to be shown in like the top 20 because of the minutes played this year because he missed so much time. But if he showed up in those stats, he's got the second best goals against in the American League and he's tied for first with save percentage even after this game.
Well, I mean, this game didn't hurt. Like you only give a 1 and you have a great night as a whole, you're still going to be in great position. So yeah, he's been
but
really
the fact
good.
that it would go Michael DiPietro out of Providence, Michael Postava, and then Sebastian Cossa, those would be your top 3 goalies in the AHL right now. That's insane.
It's funny you sit here and you're like, I wonder if Waddy goes one heavy in the playoffs or if he just rotates. Like, listen, I've seen, so like it's kind of crazy to think about, but at the same time it's not because they're both playing so well. I've seen Dan Watson ride a goaltender all the way through the playoffs to the finals twice. And then I've seen Dan Watson take a very young Sebastian Cossa with a veteran John Letherman, and they flip-flop all the way to the end, like, which they lost in the conference finals. So like I've seen it done both ways with Waddy. And like you're probably gonna ride Cossa until he gives you a reason not to, but like Postava's not hurting the case.
I mean, if we play the Wolves, it's got to be Postava. His save percentage against them is just absurd. It's actually absurd. Like last time I looked at it, it was like a .98 or something like that. It was stupid. He owns the Wolves somehow, which is crazy because that's the arena he got hurt in. You think that team would give him nightmares, but no. Again, it just goes back to what I've said all season long. He's just cool, calm, collected, doesn't give a you know what, and goes out there and plays his game and does his thing. I don't know what Waddy will do, but I'll tell you this. It might tell us how much of a say Detroit has in the situation.
Yeah.
What actually happens.
It might, but like at the same time, like if you get a reason not to play a guy and the other guy's there, like you did it last year.
I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see because again, you've got two of the best goalies in the league.
I can tell you what I would do. I would alternate them with how
100%.
With how well it's going. Like I would just alternate them. Like,
yep, establish the rotation game 1, and then each guy knows when they're going. They can prepare their own way and just be ready to go. Like that's where the whole conversation of when does Augustine join this team come into, like, again, if everything is locked up and everything at the end of the season, sure, you rest the goalies and give them a night off and let Trey get into a game here and there, but he doesn't touch the ice in the playoffs. No way. No way.
That's where you almost like, do you send him to Toledo for the playoffs? Like,
yeah, you do.
You do. I mean, I'm not saying that, Toledo needs him, but because, we're rolled 3 all year. Granted, Nolan's not here now, but like, if you're going to sign Trey, you're going to want him to play. Like, I don't know. It's going to be really interesting to watch the goaltenders down the stretch.
I think that's the intelligent move by the organization. Will they do it? That remains to be seen. So we'll see. But enough on goalies, just talking about the rest of the game. Like I said, the team played better in this one. It's unfortunate they couldn't find the back of the net. Not that they didn't have chances. Like this, they had chances in the power play. They had chances 5-on-5. The power play looked a little different with Hawk playing some first power play unit minutes out there. And I know I posted one of the sequences where he was in his office. As we know, watching Toledo, we know that's his office. Some call it Obi's office. We call it Hawk's office. He was there. He had a great shot from the office that just didn't get into the net, but then he had another nice play right after that off of Mazur's stick that almost went in. And again, just was a nice dynamic to have out there on the power play. And I know we joked while we were off air in the intermission for us here, but like, could we have imagined if him and Leonard played together this week? Like, how absurd that could have possibly been for the Griffins.
Yeah, I know, we were joking about it, and I said, imagine a world where you have Eric Gustafsson up top, and then you have Hawk on your left and Leonard on your right. Which again, like some of the people listening to this that don't really truly know what Hawk is, like, oh, come on, he's an ECHL player. It's like, no, you don't understand. Like, until you see this guy shoot the puck, you don't get it. Like,
if you don't get it after watching him on the power play in this game against the Wolves, then you're never gonna get it. I'm sorry, but like it was a big difference maker. He was making plays left and right on this power play that were very impressive.
yeah, it sucks we were kind of robbed of that potential. But yeah, like he just adds, he's an offensive player. Like that's just what he does. It's what he excels at. And it's not just the shot. Like you seen the play with Mazer with the redirection in front, that almost went in too. Like that was like, it just shows the creativity that he has. He's not a one-trick pony.
And he had that with Maze a couple times in this game, honestly. He tried to bounce a couple off of Maze's stick.
Well, I mean, that dude can put the puck wherever he wants. Like, we were also joking, like at one point he deferred the pass from the corner, and I'm like, dude, if that's in Toledo, he's going off the helmet trying to bank it in. Like, I screamed at the TV. I was like, shoot it. Like, that's the one time you don't shoot it. Like, come on. But
I saw him down there and I'm like, he's gonna do it. Oh, he passed it. What? No, come on, don't do that. What's, like you said, what's the worst that's gonna happen? Waddy's gonna yell at you once? Oh, darn.
But I think he's probably just trying to make the right, like, the simple play, and that's what he said Saturdays,
which
is the right thing to do. So yeah, it just added a different element that, like, when they don't have Leonard, that it replaces that. And you've seen it, like with the puck movement, the threat of a shot, and they just didn't score. That was like the biggest thing. Like they had multiple looks to tie the game at multiple points throughout the game. So it's an unfortunate situation that they couldn't tie it, but much better.
Cossa was great, but Caden Primo was also great at the other end. That's
he was great. You can't take away when a guy puts up a goose egg. Some nights you just got to tip your hat, and
especially a 28 save one. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the most shots in the world, but at the end of the night, like it's not like a 15 save shutout. So
especially when the Griffins had 6 power plays.
Right. Like they had the opportunities, they just couldn't convert.
Exactly. You mentioned Gus earlier. We've got to talk about Gus because Gus killed a guy in this game. Oh my God. Did he set up one of the cleanest open ice hits in the high slot that I've seen in a long time. I saw someone quote tweet the hit and they were like Darius Kasparaitis. And I was like, oh, that's a name right there to make the comparison. But dude, what a bone crushing hit by Gustafsson.
If the first person that comes to your mind is Darius Kasparaitis, like, first of all, we got to have a conversation because he was not even the GOAT at doing that. Like Scott Stevens would like a word.
He did mention Scott Stevens in the tweet too. He did mention him, but Kasparaitis was the first name that stuck out to me in there because I was like, that's a name. It's a name I haven't heard in a minute.
Yeah, you don't hear it in a long time.
That's when you're dropping some true puck knowledge if you're dropping names like that.
Yeah, I mean, at least he had threw Stevens in there, so I'll give him credit. Yeah. But like, yeah, and like, here's my thing with it. Like, that's as clean of a hit as you're going to see, and it's instantly a fight. And I'm like, I get it, like your dude just got blown up, but like, I hate that every big clean hit now leads to a fight. Like, if your dude gets boarded, that's one thing, right? Like, but if you just can't keep your head up on the trolley tracks and the fucking train's coming through, like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, keep your head up, man. Like, and it's not like, you don't expect that out of Eric Gustafsson either. Like,
no, nobody did.
Maybe if that's Austin Watson coming across the middle, like death on an ice, you're kind of expecting because he's a big physical guy. Like Gus, you expect the offense, not blowing a dude up coming across the middle. So like, bravo to Gus.
It felt like that was a bunch of no team picked me up on waivers and no team traded for me. I'm pissed. I'm going to take it out on this one guy who's got his head down right now.
This poor man's about to die.
Yeah. But you're right, dude. Like, that resulting in a fight right afterwards, especially, like, dude, if you're going to fight Gus in the situation, drop the gloves first. Like, come on.
Yeah, that pissed me off. I was off the deep end on that. If you're going to fight a guy, don't fight the guy with your glove on. Like, that thing is a weapon. Like, I get, like, bare knuckles bad too, but, like, a glove's not exactly a light thing. Like, they are way lighter now than they used to be, but like, you got all that extra pad, like that can really do some extra damage. That was kind of bush league on me, like on that guy, I thought.
I 1000% agree with it. And the thing I don't like too is that it wasn't just that fight. Like you could tell the anger from the Wolves in that situation carried over into the next fight with Giovanni Smith and Austin Watson, which again wasn't a fight. It was a hugging match, but like they wanted to fight again. Can we talk about the weird situation before that fight? Like the ref had his arm up to call a high sticking penalty. The fight happened. The high sticking penalty never was called.
Whoops.
Like again, the ref show continues in the American League, and it wasn't just that in this night, because fans that have listened to this show for a while, I'm going to drop a name that you haven't heard me say in maybe 2 seasons. Grady Hamilton was the official in this game that kept calling stuff late. Like the play would happen and he would hesitate for 20 seconds and then raise his hand and blow the whistle. And you're like, okay, if you weren't going to call it initially and you just kind of waited to see who had advantage from it, just don't call it. Just let the play continue. But no, you're going to call it now and slow the game down. That was one of my biggest gripes with him as an official, not just the obvious blind misses that you'd always have a couple of years ago, but his like the game management was just terrible from him, and it would slow the game down. The pace of play would suck. As soon as the team would get momentum, he'd do stupid calls like that. And you're just like, okay, there's that one where you were going to call something. You were going to call a high stick and just decided, oh, they fought. I'm not going to call it anymore, which is funny because I believe the Griffins still ended up with a power play after that fight. But at the same time, there was that. And then there was this blatant closing the hand on the puck against the glass by the Wolves that even the Wolves player turned around and was like, I'm guilty. And no call from that either. Like, yes, we had 6 power plays in the game. I shouldn't be crying, right? But at the same time, it was just poorly officiated. And again, on both sides. And the officiating inconsistencies are just, it's getting to be too common of a topic for us on this show this late in the season.
Yeah, and then normally the whistles go away in April, so that's how it normally goes. So we'll see, I guess.
Maybe they're just getting their use out of them before then. I don't know. I could make
Maybe.
some inappropriate jokes, and I won't. It's a family show. But at the same time, dude, it was messy. It was messy. It was just a messy game on the penalty side too. Like there was a lot of stuff called that should have been called, a lot that shouldn't have been. You had the 2 fights. You had an almost fight between Badinka and Milne, but Milne ended up drawing an extra penalty out of that whole situation, which was really nice to see too. Badinka got 2 for roughing and Badinka got 4 for roughing. Milne just got 2. So there he is again, creating chaos and drawing a penalty out of it. Thanks. But weird game, not a bad game. Another one of those losses where you're not mad we lost. You look at the situation the Griffins are in, you look at the roster, you look at all the things, all the factors playing into it and go, hey, you didn't give up 5 like you did last night. Good job.
Well, that, and they played better. So I think, like, you're not always going to win the game, but you have to show up. And they showed up in this game, despite, like you said, all these guys being out missing. So that's a credit itself.
Yes. All right. We don't have 3 stars of the week this week because there's not much to be proud of besides Postava's performance, I would say. And Dufour scoring the power play goal, I'll give him that. I know Trail Max had one too. There's your 3 stars. That's about it. Before we get to the standings, though, I want to talk about a couple guys, especially because, one, it's been a while since we've had you on a Griffin show, and I like to talk about this type of stuff with you because you think of it with more of the hockey player mind than I do because you play the sport. I don't. But I do want to talk about one that's not on the roster currently, but is qualified for the playoffs, and that's ASP and the kind of management that Detroit's doing with him right now. How do you feel about it?
If he's not going to play, send him to Grand Rapids. It's plain and simple. Like, if he's not going to be a part of the team playing every night, then you got to send him down. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I think he could have used the year in Grand Rapids. I think they kind of messed his development up a little bit, especially when you see them sheltering him 10, 12 minutes. It's like, what good is this doing when he could be playing 20, 22, potentially 23, maybe? Because he'd be playing at first power play. He'd be playing every single big minute. And like you've said multiple times too, every big prospect that's a defenseman has been in GR for at least a season. Obviously with Mo, it was a way different situation. He was here, then COVID happened. He went overseas, came back, and then was in the NHL. But like Simon was in GR for over ripening. And it really helped him. And like with ASP, like you see the flashes and they're there. And it's like, I feel like everybody in Detroit expected Hudson production and they didn't get it. And now it's like, well, what now? Like, that's how I see it, is like everybody like came in as like this massive boom potential and you didn't get it as a rookie, like to the level that everybody was hoping. And it's like, well, maybe if he was here for a year, you'd see a little more out of him potentially, and he'd be more comfortable. I'll say this: if Detroit makes the playoff, if he doesn't come down, if Detroit makes the playoffs, he'll probably stick around up there. But like if they do not make it, like he's going to come down and he's going to play a lot, and he's going to be a very important piece for the Griffins. So
I could see them sending him before.
Well,
If
I think
if they're not going to play him, they need to.
Yeah, if they're not going to play him, he'll get sent down at some point. Like they still have Hamonic up there too. So like, let's not forget about that. So they are
I completely forgot about that.
Yeah, they're carrying 8D right now. So like they don't, like if he's going to sit, there's just no reason to not be in Grand Rapids playing. Like,
yeah, because I had follow-up questions for you, but you answered all of them because the next question was going to be, did they fumble his development this year? And
I think a little bit. Like,
I think so. And I'm glad you brought up the point of like, yeah, the defensive prospects have spent a year in GR. That's where they've blossomed. They come in and they're kind of like this scared kid on the first day of school, not really knowing what to do. And then midway through the season, they just become these aggressive menaces. Then, Simon Edmondson MMA fights a dude at center ice. Like, it's just kind of the rite of passage, it feels like, for some of these defensive prospects. And I feel like it could have really done him a solid. Maybe even to spend that half the season here and have the breakout season and go up. Like that could have been a solution in itself right there, but I think they fumbled that and it could be costly down the road.
I don't think it's going to be that costly. Like I think him being up there, he's learned a lot. Like I think he's learned a lot about himself and what he's going to have to do to be an everyday NHL player. But like, there comes a point when like, if you're not playing, you got to play at some point. So you got to send him down. But like, I think he went through a lot of learning lessons this year, regardless of what happens. And I think he'll be a better player for it. But like, I just wish there was maybe a little more hesitation to playing him. Like, let's be real. Like he was the best option, like, because of how bad the right side was initially. Like there's some nights I really would rather see him in than JBD with Bernard Docker. But like the nights where they play Hamonic and sit him, I was like, there's no reason for this. Like, just like absolutely not. Like you have to play him. And even if he comes down, like you've seen MBN come down and flourish, right? Like
he should have come down when MBN did.
Yeah, the argument could be made for that. But at that point, he was still, they hadn't really thrown the minute munchin on him fully yet.
That's true.
Because that was only like 12 or 9 games into the season. 8 games into the year. So like, I think that was too early. I think he could have maybe done it around Christmas time and you probably could have had a little bit more potential out of it. I wish they could have made the Falk deal earlier and then they could have really, like, if they could have went into this year with a right shot defenseman, then there would have been way less pressure to do it. He's not a lost prospect by any means. He's still a super talented guy. I think where it really would have helped him is defensively. Because, like, he's got to be so good positionally because, like, he's not Seider size. He's not Edvinsson size. Like, he's a smaller defenseman. He's very offensively gifted. He's not a slouch defensively, but he's going to have to learn a lot. And I said coming into the year, like, his gap control and his stick is going to have to carry him through a lot of things because he's just not a big guy. Like, he's going to have a big summer, but I think as a whole, if he comes down, I think it would be very beneficial for him if they came down.
Just think what a year of him on the right side on that top pairing here in GR with AHL Eric Gustafsson this year would have potentially done for him.
Yeah, I mean, people are going to hear that and be like, oh no, but it's like Gustafsson, if probably could have been an AHL All-Star this year. That's how good he's been for Grand Rapids.
He probably would have been 100% if he wasn't called up at that time. But it makes sense, but
it's not lost. It's just,
no,
it's going to be a long defense.
It's going to be really nice for us when we get him here eventually. Like, it's just when.
I think you'll see him. Like, I think you're going to see him before the end of the year.
Like, I think so too.
Like, if he's going to continuously not be in the lineup, they have to get him in games. Like, sitting him does nothing long term.
And it's going to make the Griffins blue line very interesting because you look at getting him in here, you'll get Anton most likely here pretty soon. Who comes out, who stays in, it's going to get interesting.
Very.
Which, when you look at the trade of Ian Mitchell, it all makes a lot more sense now.
Yeah. And that gives them some flexibility to send ASP down. Like,
correct. Yeah, the writing was kind of on the wall when that trade happened. So we'll
Because
see.
Mitchell played power play. That's
Yep.
what something Gus would do. So, or Gus, ASP would do. Gus still
Yeah.
wouldn't do it.
Oh yeah, Gus better still be doing it. Good God. One last guy I want to talk about who's actually on the Griffins currently and it just hasn't looked the same since the Olympic break. It's Edwards Trailmax. Yes, he scored this weekend. The offensive flash is still there, but the play off the puck and around the puck defensively has been brutal.
I mean, I can't really attest to this as much as you can, just because I haven't been able to sit and watch a lot lately. But I wonder if a lot of it's roster flux because you look at when he was really going, like it was him, Becker, and who was the other guy?
Rutkowski.
Yeah, and Rakowski, he didn't even play on Sunday. Like he was
No, he was healthy scratch Sunday.
yeah, like he was a healthy bomb. So I wonder if that plays a part in it, right? You lose guys with chemistry. Sometimes it can be hard to move around, but you would expect him to be able to play well. And I was stoked when he came back. Like I'm like, dude, he had a great Olympics. Like he can come back and continue, but like you said, it's just been a little off, but not like no reason that he can't find it again.
No, and I think you're spot on there. I'm glad you said that with like the fluctuation of the roster. Maybe that is it, and he's just all over the place playing with guys he's not used to playing with. Like,
Get him some more blueberries.
yes, 100%.
Get him
I
some
agree.
blueberries.
Yeah, he just needs to get back to playing with his line mates that he's used to playing with. That line was so good when they were all together. Then you start separating them, and obviously we've had to with the situation the Griffins are in. But as soon as you separate them, all three of them are just struggling. So get them back together, and maybe that'll solve it there. I need him to be better defensively. That's the biggest thing for me. Is like obviously he can shoot and score, but he's got to play defensively. We know that the structure of this team is built on the great defensive core on the back end, but it's also the forwards playing a responsible defensive game. And once the forwards start to slip on that, that's where it goes sideways really, really, really fast. So hopefully he gets back into it. We won't dive into too many of the other guys because obviously we're just in this weird roster situation and we could be here all night. Let's dive into the standings update and what the playoff picture is kind of looking like here, because obviously, we're getting closer and closer to that day where it'll be game one of the playoffs for the play-in round. And then game one of the actual playoffs will start like a week and a half later.
So stupid.
I only said that to get Travis fired
It's
up.
the dumbest thing ever.
All right. So in the Central Division, obviously the Griffins still lead that division. They have a 20-point lead over the Chicago Wolves, even with the loss to them on Sunday. But at the same time, they've got that lockdown. The magic number to lock down the division is 13 points right now. That's what it's set at. Chicago's magic number to lock down the division is 49 points. So we're just kind of counting on the days till the Griffins lock down the division at least. Chicago obviously in second, Manitoba in third, Texas and Milwaukee fourth and fifth. So Milwaukee is back in the playoff picture now. Rockford has slipped out of it again. So Rockford
I like
back
that,
in.
though.
What's that?
I want to play with Milwaukee. Like I would. There's a couple
A playoff
teams.
series against them is gonna feed families.
Well, like there's a couple things. Like sorry to cut you off, but like if you're giving me the option, I'd rather go through Milwaukee. Like that's been them in Texas. Like those have kind of been like your prove it. Those have been like the guys that have the last couple of years knocked them out, right? So it's like
Yeah.
if you're gonna go and go on a run, like you should go through the teams that kind of gave you the fits for the last few years. So I would not be mad if they had to go through a Texas and a Milwaukee to get there.
I don't want to go through a Chicago or a Manitoba because Manitoba's figured out how to play us very well, and the Chicago games have triple overtime written all over them.
Oh God, that's a marathon. Like that could be a game. Like that could be the kind of series where you only play 5 games, but you've played like 9 in total.
Yeah, 100%. Head over to the Pacific Division. Ontario, Colorado, and San Jose make up the top 3 in that one. In the bottom 3, you've got Tucson, Calgary, and Abbotsford. Those are the 3 on the outside of the playoff picture looking in. It is a pretty close race there with Tucson 1 point behind San Diego right now for that other playoff spot, with San Diego having 1 game in hand. Ontario's magic number to clinch a playoff spot, they'd be the first team out of the Pacific, is 9 points, and they need 26 to clinch the division as it stands right now. Obviously, these magic numbers fluctuate when other teams in the divisions lose, but that's just what it's set at right now. We head over to the Atlantic with what?
I feel bad for Vancouver fans. Like that whole
Oh, it's brutal.
organization's going through it, man. At least, I mean, Kalamazoo's fighting for a playoff spot, but like Abbotsford's having a horrible year. Vancouver's in the tank. Like it's just.
Yeah, it's funny too, because you look at like the points, because they're not mathematically eliminated yet, but they need 43 points out of their remaining 11 games. That math doesn't math.
No, it doesn't.
So they're basically eliminated. They're eliminated from
this
obviously the division
playoff
league. But
thing that the AHL does. I wish that the ECHL would do this.
yeah, the playoff primer's sick, honestly. If you're wondering what we're getting this from, look on AHL.com. It's always right on the homepage. They update it every game day when a team plays. They'll update it for the whole league. So that's where you find this information at. We head over to the Atlantic Division, though, and Providence is the only other team that's still clinched a playoff spot. And as Travis said earlier in the show, has taken over the league lead in points there, which as much as this magical season, the league title in the regular season would be cool to have, I don't care about it as much. Like,
You shouldn't want to win it. You shouldn't want to win it.
Exactly.
Like,
It's usually cursed. So Providence can have it all they want, honestly. You got Wilkes-Barre behind them, whose magic number to clinch a playoff spot is 1 point. So they are the next team most likely in the league to clinch a spot. Charlotte behind them, Hershey behind Charlotte, Lehigh Valley behind Hershey, and then Springfield with the last playoff spot in that division right now. You've got Bridgeport and Hartford on the outside looking in. That division is at least a little tighter than the other ones, but the magic numbers at the bottom there still are quite high. In the last division, you head over to the north. Laval is 2 points away from clinching a playoff spot, so they could also be one of the next teams to clinch a spot. That's kind of just been the obvious. They've led that division literally all season long. They're a fantastic team. That would be a very interesting playoff matchup in the finals. Get some Griffins hockey in Quebec. That could
dude, I got PTSD from that shit.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Never mind. We don't want that. So Laval leading that one. You got Syracuse in second. Cleveland moved up to third place.
That's who I
Toronto in
want.
fourth.
It'd be so great for us.
Toronto in fourth. And Rochester in fifth. Belleville and Utica on the outside looking in pretty much. Both of them are not eliminated. It's actually a lot closer than you think. Utica's actually only 6 points behind Rochester. So that division could also get pretty interesting as we get closer and closer to the end of the season. But I mean,
we got a Dominic Shine goal.
We got a Dominic Shine goal near the end of an episode again.
Yeah, empty netter.
Beautiful. Second
Sorry,
week in a row.
I had to. It's Dominic Shine.
Yeah, second freaking goal in the NHL. Congrats, Shiner. That wraps up the AHL standings as they stand right now. We'll keep you updated, and we'll give you the further playoff breakdown and how this all works, how the play-in round works, how the actual playoffs begin after that round. We'll give you all that next week here. We've gone on long enough today. With that, though, I think it's a good place to wrap this episode up. When you look at the Griffins' upcoming schedule, they have the week off until Friday where they begin another 3-3. Hopefully nobody's ice melts in the meantime. And this 3-3 this weekend is stupid. The Griffins are in Rockford on Friday night. They travel to Milwaukee Saturday night to play them, and then back to Rockford on Sunday for a 5 o'clock game.
It's about as dumb as what Toledo's doing right now. Like they
Exactly.
were in Savannah, then they go to Charleston, and then back to Savannah. It's like, can we just figure out how to get?
At least there's a day off in between there somewhere. This is stupid.
Well, yeah,
especially with the way the weather's been in the Midwest. You got one snownado, and you're screwed.
Well, another thing too with it is it's like, how hard is it? And I get there's building availability, but like you can't figure it out to where you put the two that are in the same building, either at the front or the end of this 3-3. Like, figure it out.
Yeah, this is already a mess. And then the crappiest part about that too is you've got that 3-3, and then you come home Sunday night. You got Monday to practice or off, and then you've got the rescheduled game on that Tuesday back at home. And then you hit the road for a Thursday game in Cleveland. Like, this sucks.
I might have to go to that Cleveland game.
You might have to. I think it's about time, because you say you're going to go all the time, but you don't end up going. But dude, in reality, the craziest part is the Griffins have 4 home games left.
I know. I think I said in our group message the other day, I was like, where did the season go? Like, it's like, it's over. Like we're at the end. It's almost April. Like, we're halfway through March already. It's that exciting time.
We got 2 left in March, the 24th and the 28th. I can read numbers. The 28th, that's Top Gun night with Austin Watson Aviator bobblehead. That should be a fun one.
All the
and then you've got
we're gonna be just in one that night.
Oh yeah,
Aviator Austin Watson.
Then you've got the April 10th game and April 11th. You've got the team equipment sale on April 10th, and you've got fan appreciation night for the last regular season home game, and then we're talking playoffs. We got playoff previews to get done by then and get ready to go once we know who we're playing and when we're playing. Is it going to be a week and a half off before we are back to playing hockey? I'm sure the ice crew would appreciate it.
They got some lines to repaint.
Well, we will have fresh ice for the playoffs. I do know that for sure. They will melt it, put fresh ice in for the playoffs, guaranteed. So that will happen. So thank God.
100%.
All right, wrapping this episode up before we go, we got to thank our sponsors of the show, of course, DraftKings and Everything Hockey Clothing Company. When you're betting with DraftKings, use code THPN for whatever promo we're running right now. I feel like they're changing all the time, so make sure you pay attention to the ad to see what the promo is. And, of course, at everythinghockey.com, when you're shopping there, buying hoodies, T-shirts, and whatever else they might have on sale right now, use code WEST to save a few bucks off your order. We also got to thank our Patreon subscribers. They are over at patreon.com/HockeytownWest podcast. They get unedited episodes, some bonus content. We automatically entered into any giveaways that we do, which we are overdue for a giveaway. We've got a bag of goodies to give away, so stay tuned. Once Brandon's not traveling in and out of the state, weekly giveaways will come, we promise. But thank those Patreon subscribers that we have right now. We got Jason C., we got Bex, Al and GR, Bert Rito, Zach, Darren Schwartz, Peter Grell, Joe Schroeder, D-Boss is D-Boss, Tyler Engels, John in Florida, Elaine Grace, Griffin, not from GR, Derek Sleazer, Lori, Allen, and Michael. Thank you all for the love and support. We appreciate you guys so much. We owe you guys a bonus episode here soon now that I'm back in town, because you don't want it recorded from crappy hotels that I was in Ohio. I love Toledo. I hate Ohio. God.
Correction, you hate fucking Youngstown.
Yeah, we don't need to get into that. Oh, God. All right, folks, that's all we've got. Stay tuned for a Toledo Walleye update later this week, where I'm sure we'll talk more about transactions. But until then, as always, go Griffins, go Walleye, and we'll talk to y'all again soon.
Thank you for tuning in to the Hockeytown West podcast. Be sure to check us out on Twitter at HockeytownWPod, and your hosts, Nick at GR Hockey Guy, Brandon at Brandon GR Hockey, and Travis at Trav in T-Town.
Freaking Dominic Shine, dude. 2 goals in the NHL. Let's go.
I had to say something.